Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Special Education Conference for this year, 2023. I'm excited as the new 2E specialist to be presenting to you all the nature and needs of twice exceptional learners. And at the end of this presentation, you would have my contact info as well as contact info of all other specialists that work with me on the team to provide access to our 2E and neurodivergent students. Like I said, this workshop is about understanding the nature and needs of twice exceptional learners. And my name is Dr. Nonya Oladimeji, and I'm the twice exceptional educational specialist in the Advanced Academic Office. The outcome of this presentation will be for everyone to understand what 2E or twice exceptional students are, the characteristics of 2E learners, the clarity on FCPS philosophy on 2E learners, the family-school partnership that truly is very critical and important to supporting our 2E learners, and my role and responsibility as a 2E specialist in the county. And I'll also share some resources that anyone can access for really supporting our 2E learners. According to the Virginia Department of Education, twice exceptional students means those students identified as gifted by the Identification and Placement Committee of the school's division, Gifted Education Program, and identified with a disability as defined by the federal and state special education regulations. According to that same data, 2 to 5% of gifted students have a disability. That's according to the National Association of Gifted Children. So we're talking about a lot of students even within our district. Who are twice exceptional learners, you might ask? Like I said, twice exceptional learners have academic abilities as well as learning challenges that require advanced curriculum and instruction for their advanced abilities, as well as some of them requiring either an IEP or 504 plan to meet their learning challenges. Those learning challenges might be in the area of learning disability, emotional disability, autism spectrum disorder, or other health impairment, which in most cases, usually ADHD or ADD. It's a paradox because the emotional strength as well as the emotional challenges often makes it difficult for us to find a balance to meet their needs. And so that sometimes appears as a challenge because it's for most people identify them just by looking at their strengths or their challenges, but it's not always easy to actually identify the strengths and challenges. So the balance for these students are often very difficult to meet. And another thing is that the masking, meaning that sometimes their strengths mask their disability, and sometimes their disability can mask their strengths, or sometimes both abilities and disability mask each other, which makes it difficult for the kids to be identified because they sometimes will appear as average learners because of this masking. The possible indications of twice exceptional learning means that sometimes these kids will demonstrate exceptional strengths combined with areas of relative weaknesses. They have high cognitive scores and abilities and lower than expected performance. For example, in their CORGAT, they might score really high in one area and then show very low expected performance and scoring low in things like iReader or just the standard SOL scores. So that's kind of a paradox that it's very challenging. And sometimes they excel in one high interest areas, like some 2E learners are very good at math, or some are good in other subjects, but appear unmotivated in others where that might be their area of challenge. They sometimes resist demonstrating weaknesses because they just don't like to show their areas of disability because it just makes them appear less intelligent. So that's an area of challenge for us also. They fatigue easily, especially when it comes to rote memorization, and they just don't want to do those kind of work. So they just easily fatigued. And most 2E learners understand concepts easily, but get frustrated with performance requirements. So they know the concept, but when they're required to do the work to show that requirement, ability, they sometimes refuse to show that, and that makes it challenging for teachers to actually see their work performance, which sometimes is used to identify them as advanced academic students. The characteristics of some 2E students, I say some because not all 2E students are alike. They are different. They are just really unique in learners. So according to the disability, if a 2E learner has the area of challenge as specific learning disability, they sometimes will appear forgetful, difficulty with memory tasks, rote memorization tasks, delayed reading skills. They sometimes show difficulty organizing their written or spoken ideas, delayed mathematical skills, discrepancy between verbal and written communication. Some of them can talk about all they know, but when it comes to putting it down in writing, it becomes a challenge. And if the disability is in the emotional and behavioral disability, they're easily frustrated, they focus on their limitations, and have poor self-concept of themselves, which makes it difficult for them to even believe that they are intelligent. And if the disability is in the area of attention deficit hyperactive disorder, they sometimes have challenges focusing, they appear disorganized, difficulty maintaining attention during less preferred tasks. If it's something they're interested in, they'll stay on for as long as it takes, but if it's something they're not interested in, they easily lose attention and focus. If it's a disability is in the area of autism spectrum disorder, they have an intense focus in preferred subjects or interest area, difficulty making and maintaining friendships. Sometimes they have this uncooperative behavior, maybe due to stimuli or due to lack of interest, and it sometimes presents itself as a challenge in the classroom. Now, FCPS has been, working on 2E learners, even though my role is new, but these kids have been serviced over the years. My role is truly to bring this attention to what our district philosophy on 2E learners are. The goal is to provide 2E students with classroom setting that recognizes and encourages their intellectual strengths. So we say strength-based or talent-based. We're focusing on their strengths and not their areas of weaknesses. FCPS also aims to offer 2E learners with flexible instruction and accommodations designed to support their areas of need. For example, those accommodations might be that teachers might provide extra help with planning and organization. They modify their learning materials and their environments to meet their needs. They offer flexible timelines or provide alternative learning experiences for the students. But these are all based on the accommodation or the IEP accommodation defined in the student's IEP or the 504 plan. So not every kid receives the same accommodation. The accommodation is really tailored to the student's need. All these practices, in addition to many more that are not mentioned here, help the 2E learners successfully access the many advanced learning opportunities that Fairfax County Public School offers. The family-school partnership is so critical to meeting the needs of our 2E learners. All key stakeholders, including the students, should be involved in the decision-making process to determine their strengths and accommodations which best meets both the academic and the social emotional needs for our twice exceptional students. And like I said, key stakeholders, including the students. So the students are needed in determining their strengths and as well as the accommodations that best suits them to meet their needs. So they're involved in identifying and confirming their strengths and challenges. No 2E student should be excluded from determining their strength. They know themselves. And so it's up to us as educators to identify those strengths by talking to them. Then students share their thoughts and perception on accommodations. We can assume that this accommodation is best suited for the kid or for the learner if we don't talk to them and to find out how the accommodation or plans are going in place for them. So we need to talk to them to find out what works for them and what doesn't work for them. Parents know so much about their students. They're this, I call them the second most important stakeholder. Parents know the student's history. They know what has worked or not worked for the learner in the past. They know family events that might impact learning or the student's behavior. So their input into the education of true e-learners is very, very, very critical. And then in Fairfax County, we have the advanced academic resource teachers who also ensures that all students are taught from their strength base and their strengths are maximized in classrooms. They ensure that learning incorporates higher level thinking skills so that students can actually attain to their fullest potential. The advanced academic resource teacher creates a learning environment that ensures that true students engages in learning with peers of similar intellectual abilities. And then we have our special educators who also contribute to helping parents and other school staff determine the appropriate learning environment for true students. They provide students with dually differentiated curriculum that considers the unique duality that true students represents, meaning they help in helping support the accommodations, and when the accommodations are in place, to make sure that those accommodations are put into practice in every classroom where the child is receiving the content. Now, in FCPS, we also have our school counselors. They assist students in the personal social domain, especially coming up with the 504 plan. They collaborate with the all other educational stakeholders in developing educational plan, as well as consulting and advocating for true e-student success. And in most schools, our true e-learners really have a great relationship with their counselors, and that's who they often go to, for help or to advocate for them. They also work closely with parents to identify support strategies, enrichment opportunities, and extracurricular opportunities that might help meet both the academic and career goals of our true e-learners. In addition to our school counselors, we also have our school psychologists who provide psychological and educational testing, which contributes to both identifying, understanding, and meeting the needs of our true e-learners in schools. And they sometimes will counsel with true e-students and their families to determine the best support to put in place for the true e-learners. Now, as parents of true e-learners, I know that you already know a lot about your children, but those parenting a twice exceptional learners it's not easy. So our suggestion is that you create a home environment that nurtures your child's strengths and interests, not focusing on their areas of deficit, that you build a working relationship with your child's school, and that you keep the lines of communication open between home and school, not just when the kids are having problems or difficulty with school, but truly throughout the entire their school years. And if you suspect that your child is depressed, dislikes school, or develops behavior problems, it's truly important that you communicate your child's problem and needs to the school as soon as possible and not wait till it becomes very, very difficult for your children to access school. Then we suggest that you work in partnership with the school to identify your child's learning and social emotional problems. You might have ideas, but working with the school makes it important that the teachers and the student feels that everybody's working together to meet their needs. Then you might ask, what can you do in addition to all those things? We encourage you to celebrate your child's gifts. Not every gifted child is twice exceptional, but every true child is gifted. So please, please, please celebrate them celebrate their gifts. We encourage you to join a parent support group, because oftentimes, just like true e-learners, true e-parents often find it difficult to engage with other parents. So finding a support group of fellow true e-parents would be very, very, very vital to you understanding how to navigate your role as a parent of a true e-student. Maintain a positive team-oriented relationship with your child's school. It's a team because together with all other stakeholders, everybody's working towards making sure that this true e-student get the best and that they're thriving in school, not surviving. We encourage you to also stay in touch with your child's case manager, the classroom teacher, advanced academic resource teacher, administrators, not just when you feel that your child's needs are not being met, but all the time. That you create opportunities to develop your child's for non-academic gifts, like work with the school to find out what are the gifts, what are other areas can you support your child to develop those non-academic gifts. Reach out to your child's school to volunteer or sponsor an after-school club as a way to create opportunities for friendship and social skills building. And parents also have responsibilities. We encourage you to foster independence, responsibility, and teach your kids to be self-advocate for their needs. Include your child's input in behavior plans, contracts, and school meetings. Oftentimes parents do not want their children to be part of this process. But even if they are not physically present at the meetings, which we do encourage, but we still encourage that you talk to them about their behavior plans, the contract, and even tell them about the school meetings and ask for their input for the meeting. Help your child to develop organizational and other executive functioning skills that work for them and involve them in tasks and chores at home. So they're not feeling out of place, but they're included in every aspect of home and school living. Do things with them, not for them. And I know it's easier for parents to want to do things for their children, but we encourage you to do things with them so they also learn that they are part of a family and that they have a role to also as a member of the family. Last but perhaps most important, find some time each hour of the day to take care of yourself. Even as little as half an hour will make a difference. When you're well, then you can actually help your children to thrive. Raising a twice exceptional child can often be twice as exhausting as raising a typical child. So we truly, truly, truly suggest that you find time for yourself and to do things that you like to do too. Your children will be better off knowing that you're healthy and that you're taking care of yourself in order to help raise them. Like I said, my role is new in this district, but twice exceptional students have existed in the past. And in my role as the advanced academic educational specialist is to assist other specialists in the AAP office in identifying and supporting our 2 e-learners. I visit schools to determine professional learning needs of individual schools, which is oftentimes very different because the needs of a school is based on the context of the school, so not one size fits all PD. I create and deliver professional development to school staff in the area of identification and programming for potential and also existing 2E students. I keep abreast of current research and state national information regarding 2E learners to lead the district in best practices and communication of information to key stakeholders by attending conferences, webinars, and also by collaborating with other specialists in other parts of the world. Also, in addition to that, my responsibilities as a 2A specialist is a list describes my responsibility, but does not constitute an exhaustive list of all the things I do in my role. I support school staff, educational leaders, and other AAP specialists in the identification and programming for 2E learners. I collaborate with our special education team in designing and facilitating 2E academic courses and also creating micro-credentials for school staff. I collaborate also with other specialists in offering ongoing training for staff and specialists on how to meet the instructional and social emotional needs of 2E learners. In addition to all those, I also co-design and co-facilitate professional development offerings with our neurodiversity and dyslexic specialists to key stakeholders, including parents, administrators, and also school staff. And most importantly, I support the district's implementation and refinement of services designed to meet the needs of 2E learners, but not limited to in-school or after-school programs. Whatever it takes to meet our 2E learners and to make sure that they're thriving and not surviving is what I would do to support the district's implementation plans. So here are resources that are available on our website. There's a Twice Exceptional to E-Learners Handbook that was created prior to me taking on this role, but it's really current because it was just created right before COVID. I know that some parents are aware of it, but I'm hoping that more parents as well as school staff access the information in the handbook to support our 2 e-learners. And also the website, I included a link to the website for advanced academic programs to see what is the continuum of services available to all learners in FCPS. And also the link to the advanced academic identification and placement, where parents can access and get the forms needed to support their children in choosing to go into a level 4 or what program, if that's the case that benefits the child. And lastly, these are contact information. My name is at the top, and then 2 other specialists who I work directly with to support our 2 e-learners, neurodiversity specialists and our dyslexic specialists. If you have any concerns or any questions, please contact us directly, and we will be glad to answer whatever questions you might have. Thank you for listening, and looking forward to hearing from all of you. Have a great day. I hope you enjoy the rest of this conference.